Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show for you with my co-host Lucky Stone and our special guest Nina the Mystic. Thank you both for being here. And as we're going to talk about how the universe evolved. And this is going to be a real technical one for not only my guests, but for everybody else. So put on your thinking caps tonight. Both of you, welcome. Welcome for being here tonight. Thank you both very much. What's up in your world? Give us a little rundown if you know what we're talking about tonight at all. Lucky?
Oh, Lucky.
You got to be more specific. What's in my world? Really just trying to get through, the strangeness of the world. Things are just constantly changing, and whenever you think you get your finger on something, it changes another direction. So I guess the universe is evolving, and sometimes I'm wondering, am I in a timeline shift? Because I think I know how things are, and then things shift and things go. So,
well, Nina, do you have any idea what this is all about?
Well, the universe does seem to keep us on our toes, which kind of makes life more interesting, honestly. If it was always the same, all the time, we would get bored. I know I would. So it's always good to have a change once in a while. And I'm here for the ride, I guess. Wherever we're evolving to, I guess that's where we're going. So, yeah.
Great. Well, you know what? This is going to be a hard one to, wrap your head around. So you got to listen really carefully. So I'm going to give you the rundown of it, my little speech on how it all goes. We're going to be talking about the Big Bang and how, we assume that the Big Bang was this cosmic force in the universe, but really it was a change, an evolution. There's two primary reasons, patterns and sound, that consist of everything changing. We have a quantitative aspect on things, a conscious choice. We have a genesis, a singularity, and we're going to start out with that. We're all in this genesis singularity where our minds get wiped. So we can relate. I'm just telling you how we can relate to this. Our minds get wiped as we come into this world to make our own new world. We go through many cosmic cycles, as you know. We can see that by the seasons, fall, winter, spring, summer. We can see that with the Mayan calendar. It goes through this 25,000 year cycle as we travel around the Milky Way. Yeah, and every cosmic cycle is unique. Now, we have no idea how many cycles we went through and how many times we've traveled around the universe. And with that, none of them are ever replicated exactly the same as the previous cycles were before. The Navajo said they have the calendar, and it projects the 5 levels or whatever, and we're like the fifth, going on to the fifth generation, at least by their calendar. So we know that the cycle has been going on for thousands of years, and everyone is different. We have the opportunity to either make ourselves or break ourselves. And then we'll go and do it all over again. Well, things go in patterns, as we can see. We all know patterns. We can look in the sky and we can see clouds. And I forget what it's actually called, but we can see patterns. Our mind makes patterns. We can see patterns on roadways and spiders making patterns in their their webs, all of that. Everything has a pattern. Specific, we're going to talk about, yeah,
Pareidolia.
pareidolia. I couldn't think of the name. It was just skipping my mind. But that's the thing. We see the patterns. We just, a lot of times, we'll see them and we don't recognize them, but they're always there. We're going to look at more of a specific events. Those are the ones we don't really see because they're not visible. Their interactions and outcomes of each and every cycle, they differ. They ensure causality, evolving dynamics of the universe, where each interaction brings forth new possibilities and outcomes rather than repetitive and becoming a loop of identical events. So in these cycles, as we go around the universe, nothing ever repeats. There's always endings and new beginnings. The existence is so vast, and complexity follows a logical, rational structure. It's kind of like Spock would say, it ain't logical, but it is, or it's logical. It's a logical complexity that changes all the time. We comprehend the universe, and then we must turn towards the world within ourselves. And in ourselves, we have those, differences of the principles, the 7 principles, and that's part of the world too. The Hermetic principles, we all know them. The principle of mentalism, the principle of correspondence, the principle of vibration, the principle of polarity, the principle of rhythm, and the principle of cause and effect. And last but not least, the principle of gender. With all of these, we have spiritual growth, self-mastery, and understanding and structure of reality. These are all reflected in the universe itself. The universe evolves through patterns of self-organizational systems. We don't realize it, but they're there. Now, with that, we assume that we are the controllers of everything, but it's all in our minds. And there must be others on the other side that are changing their part of the universe. And with all of that, they are leading us down this new road. Okay, the Big Bang. Okay, well, the Big Bang is not random. It never was. Scientists think, it was like an explosion. But it wasn't. It was a result of cosmic function or a change that was in the universe itself because it needed to change. It was a product of the mind of the universe. Believe it or not, we live in the mind of the universe. Our minds are constantly shifting in and out of phase and changing in aptitude for different outcomes and choices along our way. And as we have those different choices and things come up, we adapt and we change. The universe couldn't stay at a constant. So it had to change. And once it did, that brought along evolution and Genesis, the beginning when you read the Bible, you can, they call it Genesis for a reason. It was a beginning, and then there was light, and there was this, and there was that. It was a frequency. It was a change in the frequency. Okay. And with that, the universe is constantly shifting in phase and amplitude, just like us. We are a reflection of the universe. The process of reflection is a called a spacious chronos. It's a domain. Why is evolution such a slow process? Well, it's like trying to solve a puzzle with brute force by trying every possible combination. This causes, and it takes a significant amount of time. You know that as well as I do. You read it in science books. Over time, these things change, and the birds, change their colors of feather, and its beak changed, and the whale jumped on the land, and it was a mammal, and it jumped in the water, it became a seal, and whatever. Is it true or not? I don't know. But we do know things change. And with that process, we change too. Or have we changed? That's a big thing. Was there some intervention or not? I can't tell you one way or another, because I don't know. Then that leaves us off where we are tonight. And as we go through the world, we're inventing these quantum computers. And as you know, the quantum computer they just invented says, hey, I can do a trillion computations in a matter of minutes. It would take another computer 100 years to do. But in reality here, as we live, do we really even know the meaning of time? These changes go over a million things, and we're in the computer being those million changes. And so we don't even realize it. There's so much more that unfolds from all of this. And there you go. What do you say to that?
You've got feedback on your microphone. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. We can hear you, but when you talk, is like another voice behind it? Yeah, just so you're aware,
Okay.
it's increasingly getting worse. It's like a shadow voice. People have been commenting about it, and I've been noticing it's been increasingly getting worse. But with that, yes, I'm a scientist. I've got a master's degree in marine microbiology. Great. And there's a lot to it. You're right. But the Big Bang, there's not one theory. There's quantum physics and there's theoretical physics, and then there's mathematical physics. Whoa, where'd he go? Doesn't matter. I'll keep talking.
I'm trying to fix it.
It's gone. You're right. You fixed it, I think.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah, it's done. It's because there was a voice behind it. But with that, you're right. The Big Bang, they believe, actually was the end of one universe and the beginning of a new, but that would mean the universe would have to expand and contract. And they go, well, that doesn't happen. So the problem with quantum physics is it doesn't agree with the normal physics. The different thoughts of physics, they don't agree with each other. Scientists don't agree. That's another thing entirely. And the evolution of biological forms, there's no thought to it. What happens is the reason why Darwin studied evolution, he didn't believe that there was a thought that animals decide to evolve. He believed that there was a random thing that would happen, and either the random thing would kill the species or they would survive better. That was evolution. And that's kind of evolution. Evolution doesn't mean you're going to be better. It just means you're changing, and you might have something that changes to help you survive. That's what cancer is about. We have cancer because the body's constantly changing. Sharks don't have that. Sharks have a less likely of cancer because they don't evolve. With all this, the universe evolving, it's always changing. It has to, because you see stars and in galaxies and in planets. The only celestial body in our solar system, even what we know about the universe that doesn't work right, is our moon. Our moon is too perfect. It's the one thing that doesn't have slight change to it. All the planets change in some form of a matter. The Earth, the poles change. There's a little bit of a wobble to it. But that darn moon, it's got a perfectly circular orbit, and it always faces the same way to Earth. So everything in the universe evolves except for our moon. So I don't know what that means, but I think
Well,
we're on a tangent. I'm
Oh, it
sorry,
is.
I'm on a tangent.
That moon was put here, was it not? I do believe that is something that they have agreed upon now. That was definitely something that was brought here at some point.
yeah.
So, and it's also
No, scientists don't agree. This is people like us, conspiracy theorists, but no, scientists believe the moon's the moon. It's hollow. Why? There's scientists, NASA, they don't admit to anything. So
no, you can't go by that. You got to go by more ancient texts, and also something fell on it and it rang kind of like a bell, and that's why they know it's hollow, and also that it's made out of metal.
yes, the Apollo 12 mission dropped the lunar module. They dropped it.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. And there has been, meteorites and stuff like that has, crashed onto the moon, obviously, a few times, and so I guess they must have recorded, some recordings up there, and then if you talk to the whole UFO community and all of those people that are into all of that, we just had a guest on, and they all seem to agree on one thing, is that the moon is sort of like the next hub before Earth, where they all go there and and whatever. And I do believe with the whole moon landing as well, that they did actually go up there, but when they got up there they were told to leave, and that's why they actually recorded that whole moon landing here in a film studio, and hence why it looks so fake, because that was not filmed on the moon, and hence why we're not going back, because we were told not to go back, apparently, according to sources, according to all the different things, so there's definitely something to that, I would say,
well, it makes sense, because they said if the moon wasn't hollow for its size, and if it was solid, that would have so much pull on the Earth, it would just literally yerk it out of the orbit and stuff like that. I mean, it's just too big to
too
be
close.
It's
too close, too big and too close. Yeah,
as it is, it's already affecting our tides and whatnot, and our cycles, because we're 70% water, so it does affect us, and this is why we follow the moon, and why we can kind of pay attention to the energies that are coming with the moon cycles, because it does affect our body and our mind and whatever else, and as well as the seasons.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just it affects us just enough that we can live here, but not enough to destroy us, or destroy the planet. Like I said, it affects the tides, but it doesn't affect them so much that it wipes the water over the land, and so it's kind of that balance. So it's like whoever put it here knew exactly where to put it, and for its size and shape and how much it weighs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was carefully thought out, obviously.
It's a protector, because a lot of the asteroids that would hit the Earth have hit the moon.
Yeah,
because the moon is sitting there. So it's the amount of things that hit that moon don't exactly equate with its weight, because there would have to be gravitational pull towards it. That's another problem with the moon. Is it the amount of things that have hit it don't equate with its gravitational mass, because the gravitational, if it had the amount, the moon is a strange thing.
Yeah.
But it does affect that, yes, as Brian is mentioning there. It affects our cycles, just like the tides and everything else, So it's very carefully designed, which is, it's another sort of evidence of that. It's just no way that all of this was just randomly from some big bang. It's just not, I just don't believe in that.
Well, and that's kind of what we're talking about today. And when we go through it, the universe is all about the universe is so vast and complex, but yet it follows logical and rationally structured framework. And that's the whole point of it. Each planet is so far apart, Each planet affects another planet, but then you, like you said, you throw in the moon, and then we're not stupid. We know that it just shouldn't be there. It's there, and it affects us, but it's so big compared to the size of our planet compared to all the other moons that rotate around the other planets. And why doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, at least the moon is consistent. The sun seems to be changing, and I've noticed it myself. Like it used to be yellow when I was a kid. It didn't used to be as bright. We used to be outside. Even 20, 30 years ago, when my kids were little, we were always outside. Now, it's not the same. Like, it's way stronger, way brighter. It's way whiter looking. Like, I can't stand it. Like, I'm starting to use a sun umbrella now when I'm out in the summer. I don't want that rays on me anymore. Like, it's definitely changed. I can see it. And I have heard that, yes, it is. And the next phase will be blue, apparently. So the sun is changing a lot, and apparently Saturn used to be our sun and whatnot. So there's a lot more to this whole evolution in the universe than we realize, I think. So, and we're definitely going through some more changes now. And you're talking about, the moon and the weather and whatever. Well, the weather has been changing. So there's other changes, and then maybe it's the pole shift. Who knows exactly, but the weather has been changing as well. So there's definitely changes that we can see, happening.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the thing. As we get we're talking about the structure of the universe and how it affects us and how we are like the universe. And do we control the universe with our minds? Because of the universe is one big giant mind. How do we affect that? We affect the universe by, so there must be more external minds out there that are fundamentally raise their entities of reality and with their own frequency and patterns. And collectively, we resonate a specific pattern to change ways. And then something incredible happens, a transformation in other frequencies. And we can see that when we do a meditation. We've done that before. When a bunch of people get to thinking like things happen. It changes because we collectively have this frequency, and there is a word for that, believe it or not. It's called the diuretic function. I think I got a picture or the word definition for that, so you give me a second, I'll figure that out. But yeah, it's amazing how and the Greeks had this figured out a long time ago. I mean, we're just getting into this. Oh, come on! I had all these pictures and things. Just find them. But anyway, there's so much to all of this. I didn't even know it. Because when we do, But I imagine in order to keep the universe in balance, there has to be other entities out there with other frequencies balancing out their end of this galaxy, their end of the universe, because otherwise it'd be lopsided. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely believe there's other beings out there resonating on a different level, and that's why we can't see each other. I think that we are actually all in one universe. It's just that there's different, you could say, like a veils in between, and we can't see each other. Well, we're occupying the same space.
Yes.
And there is no time. Time is an illusion we have on here.
Yeah, it's an illusion. We've created this illusion, but it's also our creation of this illusion. And I think that's where we get into problems, is because we've created we're on this frequency. We create things, we create wars, we create deceptions, we create if we're feeling good or we're feeling bad. Well, you could tell that when Trump got elected. There was this feeling of ease with everybody, at least for a little while. It was like,
well, that's not the feeling I got, but depending on who you are, I mean, for a lot of us, that was like, yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to go into the politics thing of it, but
but I mean, for the most part, it seemed like there was a different feeling out
definitely
there.
a different shift. We definitely went into a different timeline there. If you want to say it that way. Yeah. And so the illusion of time comes also with the whole seasons, because we're making time by the seasons, by the night and the day. That's how we kind of tell time. And so that kind of, I guess, is why we're telling time, just because of that. I guess if we didn't have that, there would be no telling, then, would it? It'd just be one big season, so to speak. So it makes you wonder, did they put the seasons and the night and the day, separate the night and the day because of that, so that we can kind of keep track that way? How many, moons have we been here, or how many, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
It makes it confuse us even more. That's probably what it is. And it's really too bad that we come in here with amnesia every single time. Wouldn't it make it a lot easier if we could remember all the mistakes we did before, so that we don't repeat them again? You know what I mean? Like, that seems a little unfair to me, but
then wouldn't it be better if we could just stay a little longer and then spend more time, even with our memories and our ambitions and our learning for a longer period of time? That's where I agree in this aspect of losing your memories and coming back with a fresh start. Because if you brought those memories from every lifetime, you would be after so many lifetimes, you'd be so confused which lifetime you were living.
Well, that's true too. Plus, you would relive all your mistakes. I mean, we do that in this lifetime, especially as you get older. It's amazing, what you're mulling over at night. If you don't have new drama coming in, you'll start mulling over the old drama. Like, this is amazing how our brain works. But no, you're right. It does kind of give us a fresh start and whatever. And you're right. If we could live as long as we used to, it will be a whole different ball game, right? But they've set the game up this time around for us to not live more than, well, originally it was 120, but we don't even get that now. We're lucky if we get into our 70s. I mean, so it's like, we're going backwards when it comes to how long we're living now. Like there are a couple, 3 generations ago, my family, we're all in late 90s and well into our hundreds. No problem, no dementia, nothing.
And no, I totally agree with that. That's my biggest problem is I work really hard, I study really hard, and about the time I start to get this, in those last few years, I finally gotten some wisdom. I feel like I'm really growing, but I also know my life is on a downhill run from here, and it's going fast, and it's like now I have less time to use that wisdom and knowledge about the time I finally found it. And now if I'd have another 50, 60, 100 years, now I could actually put that knowledge and wisdom to use. But I'm so struggling. That
might be the reason why. You see, they don't want us to get to that point, right?
Yes.
To figure things out and to be aware. Right? They don't want that.
But then again, you're talking about an external force came in and changed our DNA and evolution, from an external place. And that's, see, this is where, people argue, we were made this way, and the Bible, that was 1,000 years was a day, and a day was they make up this stuff, and it's just so confusing. And I think, well, you don't know what to believe in the end, but I do know that, they put those numbers in that, how long people live for a reason.
That's right.
Lucky you studied the Bible a lot, Do you think those numbers were correct for how those people lived? Or was it all made up?
No. The problem you have is that you believe the Bible is one or the other. It is
Mm-hmm.
both. It's a book. It was multiple books that were translated from Hebrew into Greek. The Hebrews lost their culture, and in order to get it, when they went to Babylon, in order to get it back, they went to the Greeks because the Greeks recorded everything, but they recorded it in
Mm-hmm.
Greek. So they took it and put it back and created their Bibles. And then, of course, we Christians grabbed that and then did our own translations. So what's in the Bible is multiple sections, because at one point back there, a year was not 365 days. It was, oh my goodness, because they didn't have a summer, winter, they had growing seasons. I think it was 2 growing seasons per year. So every year was actually 2 years. Every 2 years would be them for 2 years would be 1 year for us. It's very confusing. It's very convoluted. So what we know about the Bible is not straightforward. And then you got people says the Bible is facts. It is what it is. It isn't. It's meandering. It's convoluted. It's bad translations. It's trying to store information. The Bible's a storybook. That's it. We
Well, the
shouldn't be getting-
Bible, you got to remember the Bible is man-made. It's a storybook. The Council of Nicaea, whatever, all these religious texts were man-made. So you can't take any of the stuff in there for face value.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't. But, once you start studying, now we're studying the Anunnaki and whatever, you see the very, similarities here. You can see where they got it from, but again, that too, I mean, who's to say that it wasn't somebody that put that there for us to find at this time? It's like you can't really trust anything anymore now. So I definitely, yeah. So, and the whole 1,000 years is a day and whatever, that's actually death. That's how it is on the other side. So it might be, 1,000 years for you, but it's only been a day for them, or, 5 minutes, and, that kind of thing. So that there is no time. Time is a complete different concept on the other side.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And speaking of the Greeks, the Greeks logged a lot. They were so smart. I don't understand, with all the ideas and technology, or they knew how things worked, and all the knowledge that they had, that they didn't advance even more. But maybe bad circumstances, volcanoes or cataclysms happened, that they lost their society and all their technology. I don't know. But the Greeks do this thing called a halos. It was a Greek term for Genesis or singularity, and we're going to be talking about that in a second here.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
is that where the video game Halo comes from?
No, I
No?
don't think.
Okay.
I don't think that they meant anything about it. We're going to be talking about a little bit about quantitative research, which is okay. We're going to do this here. Hang on a second. Share screen. And I don't know if you know anything about this, but you're going to learn something tonight. Quantitative research. Quantitative research is a process of naturalistic inquiry that seeks out an in-depth understanding of social phenomena with their natural settings. It's a focus on why rather than what of social phenomena, and relies on direct experiences of human beings, as meaning-making agents in their everyday lives. And that's something we need to pay attention to, because we make decisions in our everyday lives, and like you have that deja vu, or if you lived a past life, like we were talking about, that was a cycle, and in that cycle, who knows how many times we've repeated that cycle, and each time that you came back, you made a different choice. Or maybe in a different reality, you made a different choice. thousands of times, like I was saying before, maybe millions of times, all ending up in a way to change the universe, because the universe is adapting and changing, shifting frequencies and aptitude all the time. And the only way to get it right is by having millions of multiple outcomes and checking each and every one. And the one we're living in today is just one of those, changes. Can you imagine what things would be like if one change, we could just go back and have one change or two changes here and a change there? What if Tesla had managed to give free electricity to everybody like he wanted to do? Or
I'm sure there is a timeline that's exactly what happened, right?
Or imagine, let's go back a little farther and say that the Egyptians never went away, and the pyramids were still functioning. Or maybe that the Greeks, like we were just talking about, with all their wisdom and knowledge and everything, advanced society so far ahead at that time that they invented the cars and steam engines and all of that stuff back then. And that would be adding, we would be in a futuristic time zone right now. We would be having those hover cars by now, and it'd be everyday life.
You confuse the hell out of me with your thoughts like that, because if the Greeks, you think, why didn't they advance more? Why don't we advance more? Because of corruption.
Yes.
This is exactly what happened. This is why Rome fell, Greece fell, Egypt fell, Mesopotamia fell, even the Hebrews fell. Corruption. Once you become so powerful, you become lazy, and that becomes. This is why there's cycles. Because we got to learn. We got to learn not to be corrupt until our leaders don't become corrupt. At that point, and only at that point, will we be able to advance. Plato knew that. Plato wrote about utopia, about philosopher kings, because they weren't able. There was no money in it for them. They would just rule for the fake because they were intelligent rulers. Until then, we're going to go in the cycle. We're going to advance, and then we're going to collapse. We're going to advance and going to collapse. So why didn't the Greeks evolve? Why didn't the Egyptians evolve? Why didn't the Romans evolve? We can see the Romans. The Romans are so corrupt, also led, but that's another thing entirely. So,
that's exactly what I'm saying. Is so what if we just took out one of those events and they weren't so corrupt? How much more could they have advanced, and where would we be now? That's what I'm saying.
You're naive that say one advance would prevent the corruption. The corruption is in the hearts of the people.
Yes,
the politicians in Washington, D.C., it's just rampant. It's all about greed. Basically, I guess that's the thing. If humans evolve to lose the fact of greed, then we could advance. But until greed is taken out of the humans, we're going to keep doing the cycle over and over again. And I'm going to enjoy the ride, because that's what I do. Greed at work. My company is the same thing. It's falling apart because of greed. And they're in the way to fix it. They just make things worse. And I know, and I tell them how to make things better, and they don't want to do it that way because it involves a little bit more work, and they'd rather do their meetings and their politics and all these to try to fix the problems. That the problems are caused by the meetings, not by the workers on the floor.
Well, and that's what I was saying. It is when all our frequencies, get together. I was saying this earlier. There's this interaction that brings forth new possibilities. The possibilities, when I say new possibilities, they don't have to be good possibilities. We always think, brings forth new possibilities. It could be bad possibilities, and that's what you're talking about. You sit down, you have these meetings, and you bring out bad possibilities, which ruin your company. Right?
Because we're always looking at the bottom dollar. It's always about the money. And I guess maybe if we took that whole system out. But then again, I would assume that we've tried that before. I would assume that some of these, points that we've gotten to before, they had that already. but obviously it still didn't work.
Well, no,
And then
maybe they never did. That's the point. The point
we
is
can't
that
be the only ones that have thought of this. Come on now, like there's just no way. I mean, taking out, like we've tried, like say the whole hippie community thing. We tried that, and it's always something that ends up screwing it up for everyone else, and but then again, like if we're going to go back to the whole Anunnaki, if we're going to go by that being where we come from, I mean, those guys weren't all that great, like so no wonder we are the way we are if that's where we come from. You know what I mean? So we get it honestly that way then, so we don't really have a chance, really, if that's what our DNA is all about. That's what's in us, and then you add the animal aspect into it too, and they're the same way as well. It's always, survival of the fittest. I mean, you either make it or you don't. I don't know. Like, and we are very much like that. Like, we always seem to go back to that. It doesn't matter what we try to do. It's always one. It gets in there. It's kind of like a cancer. It just starts to corrupt. With the whispering in the ear. And it festers again. Next thing you know, yeah, now we got a whole, thing again. And it's never ending. And so, I mean, if you were an outside species looking down on us, this planet, like, you know what I mean? Like, would you be like, oh, look at those doing so great down there. Look at that. Like, yeah, I think we're going to feature them on our next show. No, I don't think so. I think they're going to like fly by as fast as they can and pretend they didn't even see this place, but yeah, it's, I don't know. It's, yeah.
No, I agree. But that's the thing. We make bad choices. Things get corrupted. And even though we want things to change to the better, they don't always change to the better. I mean, we know what's good and what's bad.
In there, they'll ruin it for everyone else. And that's the problem.
Yeah, it only takes a small percentage.
Yeah.
And
there's always that one little cancer that gets in there. It's like a little poison ivy. Eventually, and you got to pick it out by the root, and that's where we've kind of gotten a little too social, to socialism and the bleeding hearts and all of this, right? We got to start to weed out the weeds. Like, if we want to get back to a good society, it's what we're going to have to do. Well, we keep giving people chances, and letting people out of jail, and so they go back and do it again. You know what I mean? Like, when you see things, you pick it out. It's gone. Just like a weed, you know what I mean? Like, and that's so there. And this is, I think, I do believe we're kind of heading towards sort of a structure like that, because it's gotten too far now. It's gotten way out of hand. Although you haven't seen nothing yet with the whole what Trump has planned. I mean, you can't even make this stuff up. What's coming here with him? Like, so I'm assuming that's just our little last hooray here with the whole show that's going on right now with him and the gold statues and everything else that's coming. Yeah, and then I guess we'll be done. I guess from the looks of it, they're going to play this out. It's yeah. I was hoping it was going to get nipped in the butt before we got this far, but apparently not. So I guess it's been played out to the end.
It's getting nipped. It's nipped in the bud. It's a growth thing in flowers. Nipped in the bud. That sounds horrible.
Yeah, well, nip the weed out. Okay, I was hoping that the whole thing was going to get pulled apart, and
it's 4 years.
The weed is allowed to continue, and if you know how many weeds can develop in 4 years, I mean, metaphorically speaking here, but no, from some stuff I saw today, is like it's way worse than I ever could imagine of what's coming.
Yeah.
But
and that's the whole point. It's like-minded people thinking the wrong way, joining, and then other people joining in, even though they've had studies on it where hey, one person does something or two people do something and the other people do it just because the other people are doing it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not that there's more people doing anything. The problem is that they're going along with it. I just blows my mind. Like, it doesn't matter what these people do or say at this point. They're just gonna sit there and clap and then lie. Yeah, great. I mean, I saw this it's been like this for years. I've seen Obama, like, he's in your face with the things he's saying. Same with Bill Gates. I'm like, did you not hear what he just said? But they're like, sitting there, no. It's like, what is going on here? Like, are people really that dumb? Or are they under a spell here? Or like, what is going on? People are just following these people, like, thinking that, now it's the new savior here. Like, like, oh my God, like, this is it's just unbelievable what's going and how people are falling, just going along with it. Like, that makes you wonder, like, what is going on? Are we under a spell? This one consciousness is a spell? Is that, what are they doing exactly? How is it that so many people can go along, with what's going on? Like, it don't know. It just blows me away.
Just imagine that the universe is a big mind. And prior to the Big Bang, all the phases and all the frequencies were in line with each other, and they were reflected in total symmetry. They were symmetrical. And then all of a sudden, everything was in constant and is now, the Big Bang happened. And since everything is in constant motion, now they cannot return to this way of thinking anymore, because you fractaled. You know how we always talk, we're a fractal of God. I'm part of, I'm a fractal. You've heard that 1,000 times before. Well, we can never return to that state, because just like you said, everything is moving. There's all these different cycles. Everything is expanding. Everything is getting bigger, and we cannot be held at those frequencies anymore. We are all, and is that what the universe wants? Is this what the universe is looking for? Is different ways and different cycles, or going through these cycles, so there is a new, good or bad, it doesn't really care if you're happy or you die or you live.
There's no good or bad. That's right. It just is. It's an experience. And so going back to the fractal thing there, like, I think this is how this consciousness is getting his information, is by, going into us. We're going here, living the physical, that this consciousness can't have those experiences because it's not a physical being. So, and then when we die, we go back, give them back all the information. And then I'm assuming we have a choice of whether or not we want to come back again, or maybe take a break or whatever. But going back to, you keep calling it evolution or whatever, but I think it's creation. It's this thing that has created, and that creation never stops. You never stop creating. So it's always evolving, because it continuously creating. And
that's what evolution is creation of something from something else.
Right. So it's continuously creating, and it never ends.
Hence the word Genesis. And as I studied all this stuff, Genesis just keeps recreating itself. We've never gotten out of Genesis. We are always in Genesis, just a different version of Genesis. And that way, we are, just like the earth, we are a product of our own mind. If just the animals lived on Earth, nothing, things would go on and on and on. They would live, they would die, nothing would really change. But we come in there and we create this different world with cities and factories, and we kill off and make things extinct. We pollute, we try to save, we try to do good things, we try to do bad things. Society, just like businesses, they start out from scratch, they grow into a big business, they get corrupt, and they fall apart and break up and become no business at all. And then another business picks up where they left off, because there's a void, and another guy starts up because people want stuff that business might have created, and it goes on from there. And then sooner or later, things aren't needed, and just like all the buggy companies went out of business because there's no horse and buggies anymore. Soon the motors, the cars with motors will go out of business because it's all electric. And eventually, who knows what they'll put in a car? Maybe it'll go to hydrogen or something, and then there'll be no more electric cars, and so forth and so on. But it all takes time and generations and failures and
I was going to say,
all at the same time.
What I think is happening is that there's certain people, certain percentage or whatever you want to say, certain race or whatever, who have all the money, essentially all the power, and they have agendas, and they also have a lot of patience. You're not going to be able to corrupt the whole society overnight. So, you do a little bit here, a little bit there, and that's what they've done. And basically started in 48. So if you want to go back to see what happened in 48, I don't want to make this a political thing, but their agenda is definitely right on schedule here, and so it's not evolution. It's somebody's agenda. We're just being led like sheep to slaughter here. Like, we need to start waking up. And this whole technology thing is not good for humans. Okay. We're not getting smarter. We're using our brains less. People have forgotten their phone numbers now. People have, what I mean? Like, so technology has not furthered us, I would say, as the human.
Lucky, I think you got something to say.
There's so much that we humans are part of nature. We're part of evolution. We're part of the universe. And just because things seem so strange right now, yes, it's all going to collapse, but then it's going to regrow, and it's going to happen again and again and again. This is all just the problem we have is perfection is boring. We can't live in perfection. How can how can perfection come from a non-perfect being? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Perfection is boring. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to learn and evolve and grow. And that's what this is all about. As everything's happening in the world, as the politics are doing their crazy things, it's for us to learn and to take control and to take charge of things as the individual. Because we can't do it as a collection because there's just too much fragmenting. So what's happening with technology? Yeah, it's corrupting us, but a lot of people are fitting it. It's getting to be that people are getting sick of all the technology. I mean, I bought a used car because the new cars suck. They're just too much, and it's a common thing with people. I got into a group of people who are sick of the new cars, and there's actually a group of people trying to revamp the old cars, not the old classic cars. I'm talking about 15-year-old cars that they want to keep going, that there's a whole community of people to go back to 10-15-year-old cars, 20-year-old cars, because these new cars, there's just too much technology and there's no reason for it. So it's coming. People are not falling into the whole technology trap. It's coming. But
I'm glad to see that people are wakening up now.
You're not seeing it. That's the problem. I'm seeing it because I'm looking for it. You're looking for the corruption and the bad people and Trump being bad and Obama being bad and Bill Gates. Yes, they're all crappy people. I agree. But the good quality people are out there fighting, but they're doing it grassroots. The small community people, they're the ones. They're the power. The media and the TV and the problem is the big conspiracy theories, they're corrupt too because they've been infiltrated by the governments because they want the craziness of conspiracy theories. The real conspiracy theories that actually have the truth, they're so tiny that they can't get anything. Their voice is small. So when you go for conspiracy theories, be very careful of what you're listening to. When you're going to, of course, the media we always know the news media is corrupt as it is, but even the conspiracy theories right now, they're all corrupt too. And no, I don't trust Trump. I don't trust any of the politicians. The one politician I trusted was Robert F. Kennedy, and he had a brain parasite, the poor guy. And he's trying to do the best he can with what he has, but he's deep in it, and then you got, it's all. The problem is the good people get involved with the bad people, but the real grassroots people, they're out there searching, trying to get themselves, and there's hope. Whenever this technology falls apart, and it will, because it's not made on solid ground. It's made on sand in swampland, and eventually it's going to fall apart and fall over. It's happening. It's just, but the problem is, we got to pay attention, and once we see the good people, we've got to encourage them.
I certainly hope you're right. Yeah, you're right. I don't see it because I'm not on the streets. I'm not out there. I don't know what's going on. I'm not. So yeah, I sure hope there is. I know there was, during the whole COVID situation, there was like freedom groups and stuff, but I noticed a lot of them were turning Christian, so turning the whole end times basically type of thing. So it wasn't a place for me, but I sure hope that there is more groups getting together and doing things, because we can't share anything on social media. So social media essentially is not useful at all for speaking truth. So I learned that the hard way. But
you can share on social media, but you got to be very careful and put it in very elementary school ways.
Yeah,
you gotta you've got to talk in simple ways, because if the AI catches you, you're gone. Your channel's gone.
I noticed I just posted, because I have separated my Facebook as well now. I got sort of my friends and family, and then I got everyone else on this other one. And so I noticed there were some like TikTok videos, I guess there are, or whatever, short little things, and moved more away from the conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy anymore now. I think it's all that's pretty much all gotten proven. And so the younger people, they're making all these, and they're making them into cute little videos, but they're telling you what you should be doing, without, you know what I mean? So it just looks, they're rebranded the whole thing. Conspiracy is completely rebranded now, and it's mainstream. They just call it granola now. Your granola, or what's the last thing I heard my nieces say something about lavender. Are you guys lavender? I've never even heard of that. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? There's a whole different lingo and language out there that we're not privy to unless you are hanging around young people, and there's so much going on. So I'm actually really excited to see that, a lot of them are turning granola now, and, realizing that, hey, we probably shouldn't be eating all that box food, with all the ingredients that we can't even pronounce, never mind spell, and maybe we should, stay away from that and go back to the way things were, go back to butter again, and forget about all these, so I just change it. Let's go back to the way it was. We got to rewind a bit here. We got way off track here since the 40s, essentially. And I know now why, I always wondered a few years back, like, what happened in the 40s exactly? Now I know. Yeah. So, but so we need to go back to there, and I can't believe what's happening. Like, and again, how people are just sitting there, from the outside. Anyways, it looks like they're just letting them do it, or they're just doing it anyways. I don't know. I just, I don't know. I guess we got to hit rock bottom. I guess essentially that's what happens usually with most things before you start anew. Before you build back better. You got to have the tower moment first, so
that's it. So true. That is so true. The last thing I want to talk about is being a zeta. The zeta, the evolution of the universe, and how do zetas, this is a real thing, believe it or not. A zeta is about life experiences, learning, growing, loving, and even failing. So zetas are a principle of mentalism. It's all in your head, people. You're a zeta. They are subject. You're subject filled. You're experimental with consciousness, and your consciousness is driven. Zetas They help the universe, and it involves not just structural stuff, but experimental refinement. Means that you try different things and try to make your life better. If you're a
That sounds
Zeta, the universe doesn't just exist; it feels and interprets and unfolds in front of you on a subjective experiences, the things you experience. You could be a Zeta. Uh, the your roles in perceptions of and interactions with yourself. Uh, diverse things. Uh, transformation, moving between experience, different states, synchronizing your subjects, realities, and your cosmic evolution. These are things that could help you or change you if you're being in that Zeta mindset. Um, so with that, that's something to think about. I wrote that down. Um,
that
this
sounds awesome.
so there's a lot of things to think about with all of that. And as we wrap it up tonight, we get to hit the hour. Max, believe it or not, Max Vision is back on tonight. He hasn't been on for a while. I guess he was on a little bit last night, and he has been taking a break. But here's his link in the chat if you want to check that out. But stay till the end here as we wrap this up. You guys have any last words on this evolution and change and evolving universe we live in?
Change is inevitable. Perfection is boring, and just community. Look what the community is doing. Look at the people around you. There are good people out there, but you got to go. Even an introvert's got to go out there once in a while and talk to the crazy people around you, because they actually might be the good people that you might learn some from people that you unexpectedly. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, Nina, are you?
Yeah, I've noticed. People aren't as social as they used to be. I think the whole COVID thing really changed that. I hear my kids say the same thing. It's like pulling teeth to try and get your friends together and stuff. Like nobody wants to leave the house. But anyways, we are, like I said, we're evolving as we're creation is still in motion. We're there's no good or bad, there just is. It all depends on, we all got to have all the different experiences and be in the balance of everything, essentially. So, but yeah, sit back, pop that popcorn, because I do believe there's going to be quite the show coming up here for us this year. And so, yeah.
Oh yeah. Speaking of shows, tomorrow night, your channel. Here we go. We'll be
right. Speaking of Anunnaki,
yes.
we're trying to go back, instead of just listening to other people's interpretation of Sitchin's work. Why don't we just go right down and read the book, and see, if we could find something. And I would say pretty much every show, there's some gem in there that, that we get from it. So, yeah, join us in the chat tomorrow.
Yes, exactly.
Or watch it, whatever. Yeah.
Good stuff. And Lucky, you got something going on with the Esoteric Tea. Great show tonight. I was watching, even though I tried to participate, but I was trying to study at the same time. But good show.
There was a record a few weeks ago. Because Courtney's away with family this weekend, so we recorded it earlier so we could get. So we have one in the bag, in the can for this kind of a. What we're doing in the future, I forget. She's got a whole schedule, and we have a schedule, and I'm participating in that schedule, but I don't remember anything half the time. Yeah,
that's all right. But you'll have another show on next Saturday night, right?
Yeah, we record. If it's on Courtney's channel, it'll be recorded on Friday, and we'll broadcast it on Saturday. And if it's my channel, then it's live on my channel on Saturday night, 8 to 9, 9:15 usually, but well before your show. So
Okay,
We try to
great.
end your we try to end at least half an hour before your show. That's just so we can kind of keep the same people and keep everyone free to go to the bathroom and eat and get ready for the next show.
Awesome.
That's the plan.
And as always, I'll be on Tuesday night with Native American myths and legends, and tomorrow night on Nina's show as we talk about the Anunnaki. So join us there. And right now, go over and join Max Vision. He does some remote viewing. You too can use your mind to see the future, the past, the present, and whatever else you can think of. But it hones your mind skills. With that, just go out and think about all the stuff we talked about tonight. Now, we know we can't change the universe, but we can be part of it. And if we get together collective enough, we can change enough of it to maybe shape our future just a little bit better than it is. And, we're just part of the process, and we're going through it, good, bad, or otherwise. The universe doesn't really care if we, if we're failing or if we're succeeding. All it is interested in really is that it's doing something, and the cycle is a cycle, and that's why it's doing what it's doing. So with that, everyone, Lucky had internet issues. Oh well, that's what happens. I know I put a block of ice under my internet issue, and it worked all night. So that's what I got to do. Nina, thank you for being on tonight. It's been great. Go over, check out Max Vision. We'll see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central and 6 p.m. Pacific time, right? Good deal. Okay. With that, everyone, thank you for being here tonight. Remember, go out and do something nice for someone. Do something nice for your neighbor. Just be a part of the community. Your little part can mean a lot, because be the frequency you want to receive, everybody. Love y'all. Peace, everyone.